on YouTube and become a member of the PTA posse here. Let's jump into it, boys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Packers OTAs and minicamps are done, and the 2025 roster is stacked and ultra competitive. I think it's one of the most competitive rosters we've seen in a long time, and there's several different camp battles going on, especially on the bottom half of the roster. That's great for the season, but means tough cuts for talented players, even fan favorites. Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur face brutal decisions, and training camp battles will be intense. We're projecting the 53-man roster position by position with a few bold predictions. Big questions loom at wide receiver, where a veteran could get squeezed out, in the secondary with a shakeup, and on offensive line, where the final spots hinge on the last preseason snap. This is about who makes the green and gold for week one. Let's dive in. Let's start with the quarterback position. This is pretty straightforward, gang. I've got them keeping 2. Notice the number that's in parentheses here as well. That's how many they kept at that position last year, breaking camp with the initial 53. All right, so we got Jordan Love, obviously, franchise leader, the face of the franchise, I should say. And then Malik Willis being one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league. No third quarterback on the roster last year. We're not carrying one this year. We're going to set it up. At least I did, and you guys can disagree if you'd like. I'm setting it up to completely mimic what they did last year. That's not to say they're going to break camp with the same amount of players at each position, but that's how we set up this exercise. Sean Clifford and rookie Taylor Elgersma will vie for the practice squad. Does anybody disagree there? Do you think there's a chance Malik Willis gets traded? Do you want him to get traded? How do y'all feel about the quarterback room here?
I would like to handcuff Malik Willis to the railing at 12:65 and make sure that he
easy, Jacob. You didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, come on now.
No, I don't think
like Daryl's mom does, right?
Unbelievable. Go ahead, Tim. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, but I agree with this. I don't think they're gonna, break camp with 3. I will say this: I'm very excited about Taylor Elgersma. What we've seen so far from the kid, man, looks really good. But yeah, I would fully anticipate him and Clifford on the practice squad to start the year. But you never know. We'll see once camp gets going.
Yep. Emilio, what do you think, man? Any shocker here? Is that how you see it as well?
Keep Malik. He won us the game in Tennessee. I mean, that's all that matters to me, right? Get the ball. He got a running game going. I think he's a competent quarterback that Matt LaFleur is getting the most out of right now. And I say we get the rest out of him and then go ahead and go make your money because, he had already slid down before. So now's his time to shine and come back.
Yeah, Jacob, I wouldn't be surprised if Taylor Elgersma kind of takes Sean Clifford's spot on the practice squad, to be honest with you, man. They're really excited about him. They say he had a big arm. I don't know if you've done any research on him out of Canada, but, man, that dude did some amazing things with the football he's played.
Yeah. He did, and he also is – he's not like, Mike Vick or nothing, but he's more nimble on his feet than people give him credit for. He's good at moving around in the pocket. He slings the ball, very beautifully, and like we always, he's younger, I believe he's younger than Sean Clifford. I could be wrong there, but I remember Clifford being a little bit older coming out. And, the Packers it's a not for long business. And the Packers are very, very adamant about making sure that they've got young and upcomers biting at the heels of the guys that are starting. But just no, dead fish. No, I don't want to trade Willis. If we could get a number 1 pick, I'd do it. But I don't see that as a realistic option unless what's the scenario where that would have to happen? Like Aaron Rodgers goes down and Pittsburgh's like, we got no chance. We got to have a quarterback. And then Tomlin makes the trade. I don't know.
I honestly, Morgan Freeman, man. What was that Morgan Freeman was there?
I don't know.
Like the Steelers front office is running the organization from Shawshank Redemption or something.
No, I don't want to see a scenario where Malik Willis goes. I think he is honestly one of the best, if not the best backup quarterback. Like Emilio said, he won us games and he came in and secured games and he was not a liability. If anything, some of the stuff he did, you're like, wow, I kind of want to see that in some certain packages if we could even pull that off in a way. But,
Yeah. Deadfish says, I would trade Willis for a number 1 pick. I don't think he would get, but I don't think we'll get that offer. For me, I think the number is, I don't know if I would give Willis up for a third rounder. I think that's kind of the cutoff for me. Just knowing you got a backup that can come in and win you a game or two, I think that's so valuable, man. I think we would all agree that Sean Clifford and Taylor Elgersma is not going to come in and play the way Willis did. So. I'm definitely in the camp of keeping him. Drew D says it makes most sense to let Willis play out his contract and get the comp pick for him. Drew, double check, and everybody in the chat help me here. I was under I had the understanding that because we traded for him, we don't get a comp pick. But that I could be completely wrong there. And I know we had a conversation about it when we first traded for him last year. We need to find out a definitive answer for that. When he walks in free agency this coming year, do we get a comp pick or not? If anybody knows the answer to that, let us know in the chat.
And to his contract, honestly, like him staying on the roster is costing us basically nothing versus getting a second first round pick. You're talking millions, right? And so the numbers wise right now, it works out for us keeping him right there.
Yeah. I was thinking the rules said you had to draft that player. Like you had to have drafted him, but I could be completely wrong there. It wouldn't be the first time. I promise you that. So it looks like Drudy said you can as long as we let him walk, I think is what he's saying there. So I trust Drew. Drew knows the rules really, really well. So probably better than me, I'm sure. Clint, the armchair quarterback, gifting 10 Packer fan total access memberships to 10 random viewers here. Thank you so much, Clint. Appreciate you, buddy. You are the man. All right, let's move on to running back here real quick. Actually, Ed Madden says something. No, okay, we're good. No. Running backs. Last year we kept 3. All right, Josh Jacobs is the workhorse. Marshawn Lloyd is the speedy backup. The fight is for the 3rd and 4th spots between Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks. Wilson showed flashes in 2024, but Brooks' pass protection and special teams value gives him an edge. So the original AI description of how they would build the roster had us keeping 4. I'm sticking to 3 because that's what we broke out of camp with last year. For me, it's the locks are Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd, and Emmanuel Wilson. You're not going to let Emmanuel Wilson go. I'm sorry. To me, it seems like if you go with 3 like we did last year, guys, Chris Brooks is probably the guy out. And I think you have a better chance of him clearing waivers, seeing that he was already on a practice squad when we signed him last year, as opposed to an Emmanuel Wilson. I mean, look at Emmanuel Wilson's PFF grade, guys. Yeah. 82.9. He was the 12th highest graded running back in the league. That's a solid 1-2 punch right there, man.
Solid evidence that, I mean, I'm going to push back on the article a little bit. I think Emmanuel Wilson's running back too, until proven otherwise. We're all excited to see Marshawn Lloyd. I am too, but he's got to win that job, man. You know, he hasn't played football in a long time. So I think it's Emmanuel Wilson's spot to lose as the backup. And like you just said, you can look at the PFF grades last year and you can watch some tape and see he played some really quality football for us down the stretch. And I think it's his spot until we see otherwise. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think you're exactly right, Tim. Because, I mean, with the running back setup, you got 70-30 roughly, Jacobs, and then your second stringer, and you'd be completely happy with an 82.9 as a grade for 30% of your running back, right? Kind of spread it out through there, because if not, you're not getting into a groove with Jacobs. So it's not like we can split it 50-50. You do want to get to that, sort of sweet spot where you're giving him enough touches where he's seen the defense set up a play beforehand in the game, and then able to, all right, we can spring it with Wilson, giving him a different option, different speed, different look.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I'm with Tim. I think Emmanuel Wilson's, he's been there. He's been available. The whole can't make the club in the tub thing, that shines so true to Marshawn Lloyd. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of his. Just a few episodes ago, I was telling you, if you want to have a good time this summer in the offseason, go pop in the USC highlights and just see what kind. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Michael Bennett. You guys remember Michael Bennett?
Yep.
He just seems to have that kind of like, era about him. But, I think I saw Clayton. What do you think? I think you highlighted this comment. Coach Len was saying that 4 running backs, we need that H-back role versatility. I would maybe push back just a bit and say that I love the 3-headed monster we'd have with Jacobs, Wilson, and Lloyd, and maybe have more of a tight end trying to fill that kind of hybrid H-back role. Is that something?
Savion Williams has the.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of saying. Is somebody that's a tweener.
The funny thing is, like Coach Lynn's saying, 4 running backs, and I don't disagree with it. Like, if they decide to keep Chris Brooks as a 4th running back, I'm not going to argue with that. Chris Brooks played really sound football last year, I personally think. Obviously, he graded out with a 65.6 there, not too bad, right? And Coach LaFleur just absolutely loved him in pass pro and catching the ball out of the backfield. But the thing that's funny, Jacob, is you were like, I think I'd rather keep a tight end. Coach Lynn's saying keep 4 running backs, right? You're saying keep an extra tight end. And the Packers only kept 3 running backs and 3 tight ends last year. So they went in the opposite direction. So
I think I'm more like what Tim said, is a guy like Savion who would justify then another wide receiver spot. You know what I'm saying? Shifting around that manpower with people that can actually maybe be an H-back / a weird tight end hybrid / whatever.
Yeah, and the only thing that makes me hesitant on Savion as a quote-unquote H-back is pass protection. There is an aspect of that. And listen, you can scheme around that. You could just have him be that weapon out of the backfield. But when I hear H-back, I think of, kind of that U tight end or a Kyle Juszczyk or somebody like that can block. And
no block, no rock.
Exactly right, Coach. Exactly right. So let's see here. Bates, going back to the quarterback talk, says if Willis signs a substantial deal elsewhere, the Packers don't offset this loss with equivalent or greater free agent signings. They could be in line for a compensatory pick. He goes on to say, however, the Packers' 2026 compensatory outlook is currently net negative due to their signings of players like Aaron Banks and Nate Hobbs outweighing the loss of TJ Slayton. So that pretty much confirms it there. I'm sure he gathered that information somewhere on the interwebs, and that confirms what Drew D was saying, that we are in line for a comp pick. That's good information to note for sure. So if that's the case, man, yeah, have him on staff as a backup, and then maybe by the time you get to that point, you'll pick up a compensatory picks. So there you go. That's quarterback and running back. Let's move along to the tough one here, man.
Ooh.